Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Nintendo Direct predictions. I have some people here. Nate, you have a little bit of time with us today, right? You got
I got a little bit.
A little bit of time you can spend. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna talk a little bit about the upcoming Direct, and we have Scott. Scott, what's going on? How are you enjoying your little mini vacation going on right now?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for having me on. I'm very anxious to whine about whatever they announce during the first Direct of the year.
How'd you feel about that Fire Emblem character for Smash?
Oh God, that was. No, I don't really care.
Okay.
It was. I just woke up at like 9 a.m. What was it? I just saw it and I just kind of rolled my eyes and just watched the rest. It's fine, but it's also like it was surprising, but it wasn't. It was something where like there's just a lot of stuff that kind of built up to that character getting kind of disliked as much as it did. But I'm also like I don't really care. That game already has so much as it is.
So you're saying you saw it and then just went about your day after that?
Yeah. I was a little busy, and then I went online and I saw just it was intense from both sides of the argument.
It was a little too much for me. It was a day for social media. That's correct.
It was a little too much for me.
Roger's joining us today. Roger, what's up?
Yes, yeah. Thanks for having me. This is great. I always love talking Direct predictions, and actually, I'm glad that you guys had me right after that Byleth Direct because I actually really liked that character. But I said during my live reaction, I'm like, oh man, people are gonna hate this. But I mean, for me, it's like Byleth and Cuphead, I was a happy camper.
Oh yeah, Cuphead it was cool to see Cuphead thrown in there like as a costume. That was neat. That's cool.
Well, the character itself, Byleth as a character, like they play like pretty differently from a lot of the other Fire Emblem characters.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
They definitely look like some of the most unique, kind of like Korn and Robin. But I think the problem is they just like they have that stigma of being a blue-haired Fire Emblem character that is just like they just don't stick out that much to a lot of people who don't know Fire Emblem Three Houses, like myself. So,
I did think it was strange, though, that, I mean, the order of it, I'm sure you guys have already talked about it in a previous video, but the order of it was very odd that they did Byleth last instead of doing it like in the hero slot, which would have been during the E3 when Three Houses came out. I think that would have made sense because then you could have had like Byleth, but then right afterwards you would have gotten Banjo, and so you wouldn't really have had that much of a backlash. But then I wonder, well, what the backlash would have been like if it was like Hero or Terry was the last one. So you can never really necessarily please everybody. But I did expect Byleth in whatever the second wave of DLC would be, because I had assumed that it would all be like first-party characters and that it would just be additional DLC similar to Piranha Plant, where like they don't necessarily get stages. So then when we saw the monastery stage, I'm like, whoa, this throws a wrench in everything. Now I have no idea what to expect for the second fighter pass.
I like the swerves usually for Smash Bros. Trailers, and that was as straightforward of a trailer as I've ever seen.
Yeah, the swerve was that it didn't swerve.
I mean,
right before the presentation went on, I kind of had like a mini thought where I was just like, wait, it might not be a third-party character because they're doing this presentation exclusively for this character. So I was just like, oh man, maybe it might be a first-party character, and of course it turned out to be a Fire Emblem character.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Rob, what's going on, man?
Yo, hey, happy to be back talking Nintendo Direct. I think I'm most excited in this Nintendo Direct we're about to talk about to see all 6 new fighters revealed at one time. It's going to be amazing. Just here's the whole pass. Just have it and enjoy it.
Oh, man. So we got the first Direct, official Nintendo Direct of the year. I guess you can say like, you know, there's a Smash Direct, but like the general Direct is what we'll say. First general Direct of the year. And we're expecting, I think, quite a bit, considering if you look at that roadmap. Nate, did you see the roadmap that went up for Nintendo and what they're have already announced, I guess, for 2020 and looking to put dates on for 2020?
Yeah, so that general roadmap came out of like, what was it, Nintendo Europe sent emails where they just had Animal Crossing, Outer Worlds, all that stuff.
Yes. So I mean, I looked at that roadmap and it did look like, if you took Animal Crossing out, it looked like the first half of the year, for what we know dates for and stuff, is kind of light compared to the back half, or even compared to, I guess you could say, last year. But like it looks like they're gonna use this first general direct to really outline most of 2020, and I assume give us the holiday title as well, because we don't even know what the big holiday title is for this year coming up. Like we can assume what it is, but
I don't think they're gonna throw that in the first direct.
No, you
Yeah,
don't think so?
I feel
highly
like that's
disagree.
more like
I think
an
they
E3
will.
thing.
No,
Okay.
I think
early.
E3. I think E3 is when we end up seeing Metroid Prime 4 shown off in any capacity.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that'll be like a
I don't
really
know.
big showing for it. But I think it's still way too early for that game. And I think a lot of people have been expecting something Metroid Prime 4. But I actually feel like the big holiday game this year will be shown off in this first direct,
Interesting.
similar to what we saw with the summer with Mario Maker, where that got announced. Now, obviously, again, Mario Maker 2 was a summer game, but that did get shown off in January. And the one thing, looking at this roster of games, this roadmap that Nintendo's put together, I don't see a Mario game there. And you know full well there's going to be some type of Mario game this year, whether it's a Mario Party or a Mario Sports game or even like a Mario Odyssey 2. And I think whatever that game is, whatever Mario's showing is for 2020, will absolutely be in this next direct. So that's like my big prediction.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm raising my hand right now. I know you can't see it because I have stuff to say.
Ooh.
So I think I mean, like, I think the big discussion is like in terms of the holiday title. I think people are either expecting it to be if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out this year, which who knows, because I think it's fair to expect it because it's reusing a ton of stuff from the original, but. The original reveal specifically stated the sequel is now in development for Nintendo Switch. And that is the scariest term Nintendo could ever use because now in development means we ain't going to see that for a while. But we saw quite a bit of Breath of the Wild 2 compared to like other games they use that term with, like Metroid Prime 4. And like I remember they used that term with I believe like Shin Megami Tensei 5, or I remember they used that with like Tokyo Mirage Sessions when that was Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, and that game just like that game disappeared for like 3
forever
years.
to come out. Yeah, it ghosted for a long time.
Yeah. So, but I think it's fair to possibly expect Breath of the Wild 2 this year or Mario Odyssey 2 this year.
I was gonna say Mario game.
That's my guess. I feel like Mario Odyssey 2, if it's happening, is this year, and that means Breath of the Wild is March. Because to me, the way the release schedule is kind of set up, the Switch launched in March a couple years ago with Breath of the Wild, and so if this rumored Switch Pro is to be believed, and it's actually on the way at some point within the next year, it'd be interesting to see that paired alongside Breath of the Wild 2. I'm scared because I heard Nate snickering, so I'm like, does he know something?
I'm just laughing at the notion of a Switch Pro in 2020.
He keeps laughing at the Switch Pro talk.
No, I'm in agreement with you that I don't think it'll be this year. I think if we get a Switch Pro, if it gets announced this year at all, it could potentially release in 2021 alongside Breath of the Wild 2 as like a March spring type game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I feel like they're not going to do the same style of release dates all over again, where Mario Odyssey is in the holiday and Breath of the Wild is in the spring. I feel like they're going to swap them this time around. Because,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to have Breath of the Wild 2 be the holiday title and Mario Odyssey 2 kind of be like, remember when Galaxy 2 released and that was like in May? I feel like Odyssey 2 would be kind of around a similar time frame, even though recently Nintendo hasn't really done a ton of stuff in like the springtime, except for Animal Crossing this year. But I do kind of, I don't know. I feel like it would make sense if they do something like a Mario 3D World port this year in like the springtime and Breath of the Wild 2 in holiday. And then next year we get Mario Odyssey 2 around like the nearing E3.
Okay. Do you
yeah, I like that.
Do you think it is going to be called Odyssey 2, or you think they're going to slap an original title on it?
I think it's Odyssey 2. And the reason I think it's going to be a direct sequel is if you look at what Nintendo's been doing recently with DLC, Breath of the Wild, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Pokemon, they're all getting expansion passes. And there was like a little bit of DLC with the Balloon Luigi stuff or whatever that was in Odyssey. But I mean, there was so much potential there for new kingdoms and DLC that I think they probably just went, you know what, we can make this a whole second game. Why not reserve this and sort of go Mario Galaxy 2 with it, where we save all these ideas that could have been DLC for a potential next game utilizing the same mechanics from the first one.
Which, by the way, is exactly what they're doing with Breath of the Wild 2. They've already confirmed that started as DLC for Breath of the Wild, and they were like, nope, this is too good. We've got a whole game we can build around this. So it's not crazy that they do something like that with Odyssey 2 as well. Okay. So, and I'll go ahead and add, I mean, kind of what you guys are talking about. I don't necessarily feel that the flip is going to happen. I think that as much as, man, we all want Breath of the Wild 2 this year so badly, whether it's with the Switch Pro or not a Switch Pro, whatever happens with the hardware, we want Breath of the Wild 2 this year, but I kind of just don't think it's going to launch this year. But I do think Mario Odyssey 2 will probably show, or the next Mario will say, will probably show up sooner. So if I had to pick a holiday game, I think it would be Odyssey 2, but I also don't necessarily see this year's holiday game getting announced in this first direct of the year. I feel like they've got to save that for some time closer to E3, maybe even before or after E3.
I'm getting outnumbered here.
Well, it's not a competition. It's just random thoughts.
It's strange because this E3 is a weird one, right? Sony's not going to be there, but they have a new console. Xbox probably will be there and will also have a new console. And Nintendo has all of these massive games that we already know about. Metroid Prime 4, Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, and they're just waiting. And, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about Bayonetta at some point during this discussion. But again, like with Metroid and with Breath of the Wild 2, those two seem really far off still. So the idea that we'd get anything on those games during this first direct, even though we don't know anything about Odyssey 2, we're literally just speculating that there'd probably be another Mario game. It sort of makes sense to me that they would hold those off until later, because those seem more like big E3 reveals as opposed to something that would be shown off in a direct. So, at least to me.
Yeah. And Scott, for what it's worth, I mean, we're talking about predicting Nintendo, which is the most impossible thing. So any or all of this could be right or wrong at any time. So that's the kind of the exciting thing. So who knows?
Well, we need a date for Xenoblade.
I feel like that's like springtime, like April.
Yeah,
we had a lot of retailers have been leaking it towards the end of May.
That seems to be when they're. I mean, that could be a placeholder, as most retailers could be. But I actually think like a May. I think that's all right for that game. I think that'd be
June.
Good spot.
June would also be the 10th anniversary of the original release in Japan. So June, end of May would make sense for Xenoblade Definitive Edition to release for the Switch.
Okay.
When did the original Xenoblade come out on Wii in North America? Was that an April game?
It was 2012, April 2012.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, the other two both released in December. So Xenoblade Chronicles X and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 were both December games. Doesn't mean they
this
would
is
do it
still
again,
just a
but...
remaster, you know. So
True. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. What about No More Heroes?
But I also feel like it would be kind of weird for like them to announce like a remaster like well a year in advance to its release. Even though Square did that with Crystal Chronicles remaster.
Yeah, Crystal Chronicles has been moved around a lot.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the roadmap thing that they put out, and it shows a lot of games here that I assume they're going to work to start dating, starting with this direct coming up. I mean, they have like Outer Worlds on here, which says early 2020, so I feel like that has to have a date soon if it's early 2020. And that actually is a pretty good game. That's gonna be interesting to see that one on the Switch like running. That'll be a good comparison actually for you to do, Nate, with that one. And then there's Panzer Dragoon. That's winter. When's winter? When does that end? That's
it was technically. It's technically supposed to drop at any moment, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, March begins spring, right? The end of March, is that right? Or is it in April? So we've got probably 3 months to go.
And then there's like Bravely Default 2 could be like a second half. I guess they could touch on that at E3 if they really wanted to.
I wouldn't be surprised if that got the Octopath Traveler slot, if that was like an October, September type game for this year.
I think October was July. I mean, Octopath was July.
It was July, yeah.
Wait, what?
Okay.
It was that early in the year?
Yeah.
I'm out of my mind then.
See, I don't even care about Octopath, and I knew that.
I just remember they did. You know what they could do though with I wonder if they would do that. Do you think they would do some sort of, because with Octopath they did a ton of like these beta programs that they did where they had people play it and give feedback. I wonder if they would do something with Bravely Default 2, or they're so confident in the name that they're like, we got it. We're just,
I don't think they do that because Bravely Default is already a known entity.
Sure.
Octopath was kind of an entirely new thing, like not only in terms of like IP, but also like visual style and just like what they were going for. I think Bravely Default is kind of like, you know what you're gonna get at that point. So I think it's not gonna get as much because Octopath had like 3 demos or something like that.
Okay.
So, I think 2 or 3, yeah.
Which out of let me ask you this: out of these two games, which one do you think comes out first, Outer Worlds or Panzer Dragoon?
Outer Worlds.
Panzer Dragoon.
I think Panzer Dragoon. Yeah.
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon.
You think Panzer Dragoon is closer? Okay.
I think Panzer Dragoon. What they said this winter, and I think it's strange that we haven't seen anything about that since last E3 at all.
I'm a little concerned about it. Yeah.
Same here. So part of me feels like them saying this winter, they could be like, well, we actually meant winter 2020. It's December.
I was thinking the same thing. I was about to say, they could be being cheeky because this was released in 2020, so this winter could mean 2020's winter.
Totally. So part of me actually does believe we'll get the Outer Worlds port before Panzer Dragoon. And I say that as a hardcore Panzer Dragoon fan.
Yeah, I'm excited for both of those games. I'm very excited.
Okay. All right. So we know where there's supposed to be anyway. There's supposed to be some Wii U ports, which they've done Wii U ports pretty much every year at this point. So it's kind of expected. Pull those games over, put them on a more successful platform, and sell the copies they should have on the Wii U if there was a larger install base there. And the rumor is that there are 2 Wii U ports slated for this year. And I think we mostly have an idea because it keeps getting passed around anyway, if I'm thinking right, Nate. Like, it's been well known at this point that Pikmin has been looked at quite a bit to have a port. And then
Pikmin and 3D World.
3D World, yeah.
I mean, the last time we predicted a direct with Scott, I said 3D World was going to appear in a September direct. It didn't.
Wait a minute.
Him $5.
Oh, yeah.
Losing bets.
I can link you my PayPal if you want.
And it sounds like it's been a while.
Double down on this direct.
Double down on this direct.
Yeah, I think it would make sense for this direct. But then again, like, I don't know. I have this like weird feeling that like 3D World, out of all the Wii U games, for some reason 3D World is the one Nintendo just refuses to port because like there's so many weird things with like they did Captain Toad and they removed the 3D World levels. And then they did Mario Maker 2, but then 3D World came back there, and it was just, and they ported New Super Mario Brothers U before Mario 3D World. The same year they did Mario Maker 2. Like, it would have made more sense for them to do, port 3D World instead of.
See, I highly disagree with that. I think the reason they did that beforehand is they knew nobody was going to buy New Super Mario Brothers U after Mario Maker 2 comes out.
That's completely fair. But they could have also ported it like the year prior or something like that. I just think it would have made more sense in my brain. But it's also this is Nintendo's.
How many copies of that game did they sell?
Way too many.
Of which one? 3D World or Mario Brothers?
Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Or
I think it sold. I technically sold more than Mario Maker 2. It's been out longer, but still.
Yeah, it did really well. And like, I mean, honestly, I'll tell you the reason I think we haven't seen 3D World yet is because that game will be a massive hit on the Switch. Honestly, and it should be because it's a great game.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere near the top of my Mario list, but it is a great game, and the audience will be huge on the Switch. So that's the kind of game that they could release even in I think that could help carry the holiday along with another big title. I think that, and so they just knew, like, when they needed a year where they were going to have a couple of gaps and maybe things were slowing down because Metroid got delayed and how do we fill in here or there, 3D World is going to be a massive drop for them. So
if we get 3D World, do you guys think then maybe that would fill the Mario slot? Because it'd be strange to have Odyssey 2 and 3D World the same year.
That's my theory. Yes. So yes, okay. 3D World makes sense now because it's been long enough since Odyssey 1, and it's only a port. So just throw it out this year and then Odyssey 2 next year. I think that would make a lot of sense. 3D World just makes a lot of sense for the Switch, like in general, like in terms of how that game's designed and all that. It almost feels like 3D World would have worked better on the Switch, and Odyssey, like, it could have swapped places in terms of the consoles they were on, and it would have fit a little better, even though Odyssey works perfectly on Switch. Like 3D World, just like the drop in, drop out, multiplayer with the 2 Joy-Con and kind of the pick up and play nature of the levels. I just feel like this game just like screams Switch. And
it does. And I would say if we look at the sales of New Super Mario Brothers, I think somewhere in the 3 to 5 million range. And then if we look at like Mario Kart, for example, in like I think the 12 or 13 million range.
Oh, Mario Kart's it's getting up there.
I mean, maybe more than that. I think that 3D World is bare minimum an easy 9 million. I mean, if not 10 or 11. Man. I think it'll do that well on the Switch, especially if it's a holiday.
Is that okay? So we assume 2 Wii U ports is, I guess one of them would be earlier in the year and the other one would be later in like the holiday.
Now part of me is thinking, now that we've talked through that if 3D World does get announced during this direct, that Odyssey 2 would be the E3 announcement, because then I could see them doing what Scott just said, what they did last year, which is have Mario Maker 2 and New Super Mario Brothers U come out that year, but sort of do a little bit of a bait and switch where it's like, oh, we're bringing Mario 3D World to the Switch this year. It's coming out in May. And then E3, oh, look at this, Mario Odyssey 2. That's our holiday game.
Ooh,
and so then
crazy.
people will have already gotten 3D World, but then they won't have to sort of like cannibalize each other's sales, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying
However, pretty much everybody is saying that it's 3D World and Pikmin 3, which I do agree. Like, those are kind of the two Wii U games that make the most sense this year. But you know, there are still a few others that still haven't gotten ported. You know, I'm looking at my games, and like there's Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't think that's getting ported this year. I think it'll happen eventually, but that's also that's a huge port for Monolith Soft to do.
Yes.
Like that game was huge. That would take a lot of time, and they're already just doing Xenoblade 1. I don't think that would make sense this year. I'm looking over. I mean, like if they want to be stupid, they can do Star Fox Zero, but I don't think that's
I actually want that to happen.
I like
it's
that
a
I'm in good
good
company
game.
here.
Yes,
Because I'm
with
also
Nate. It's a
not a
good
fan of that game.
You know what's interesting? A lot of people.
I'd rather them just port Star Fox Guard
A,
instead.
a lot of people didn't.
Okay, but I actually like Five Nights at Slippy's.
But-
Let's be real for a second.
but
I like
It's
that.
fine. It's better. It works better than Zero.
A lot of
It
people.
does.
Give it
It
that.
A lot of people didn't like that game on the Wii U because of like the controls, right? Like with the gamepad
Right.
and everything.
Yeah.
But if they moved it to the Switch, couldn't they fix like its biggest like
Yeah, but at
glaring problem?
at that point, you might as well just make a new one.
I guess.
Because
Yeah, I
that game is so designed around that control scheme that it's
Yeah.
just there's no point. And even then, when you take out the control scheme, it's still not that great. Like it's
I
a
think-
very.
It could be
it's
good at like $40 though. It could be good at a budget price.
It was good
okay.
at $5
Okay.
at Five Below.
Yeah.
I'd be I was
Such
gonna say, I'd be
such
down with that if they're gonna
disrespect.
fix the controls, but
Yeah, I'm with
at
you,
the same
Nate.
time, there's so much that's wrong with that game, at least in my opinion, in terms of like the music and the scope of Star Fox. Like I feel like they actually took a step back from Assault with Star Fox Zero, and so
I will agree. I actually do agree with that though. I do agree with you there.
I would love to see like some type of new Assault game or some new Star Fox. Maybe not like a full reboot because I feel like they've done that so many times at this point. But like some type of new Star Fox game that actually takes the things that everybody likes about it, like the corny soap opera stuff, the music, the graphics. And I feel like
It's
in every
time.
category, Zero was lacking.
Wasn't that supposed to be Star Fox Grand Prix?
We're bringing up old wounds, Nate. Old wounds.
Why don't you let Ubisoft work with Star Fox?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, like maybe this E3. I don't think that would happen during. I think Ubisoft would want to announce that themselves.
Yeah.
But you know, like I think Ubisoft has definitely proven themselves worthy of doing their own Star
Well,
Fox. But
go ahead.
no, go on.
I was going to say earlier we were also kind of drawing comparisons with like Pikmin, for example, and like, you know, if they did a Mario game or if they did a Xenoblade this year, then they wouldn't be doing, you know, Xenoblade X because of Definitive Edition. When I look at Pikmin and Pikmin 3 being a port, I love the idea, but what if Pikmin 4 is a game, and does that then change the idea of Pikmin 3 even being ported?
Well,
And that's
I
kind
would
of a question I have.
prefer if they would do a Pikmin collection.
Yes.
And they would remaster
Agreed.
1 and 2 and 3's engine. I adore every single Pikmin game, and I would love to have all of them available, even though they wouldn't be the definitive versions because you need the Wii Remote and Nunchuck for a true
Ooh,
Pikmin game.
Well,
but,
let me ask you
You
this.
can't use the IR pointers with the Joy-Cons?
it's still like well, I mean, like the gyro
mean, if they
controls, like
nailed
it
it.
will work, but it's just like the Wii Remote is just like so like it's just it works so
Well,
much better just because you always have that sensor bar there.
Let me ask you this: if they announce, let's say Pikmin 3 is one of just straight up Pikmin 3 is one of the Wii U ports, do you think they also then announce Pikmin 4?
I think they do something like when they announced the Astral Chain, and then afterwards they said, "Don't worry, Bayonetta 3 is still in development." I think they're
They
gonna
did do
like
that.
cut to it, and then they're gonna say, "Don't worry, Pikmin 4 is still."
Nate,
in
why
development."
you gotta cut me down with Pikmin 4, Nate?
They confirmed that they were developing Pikmin 4, what, like
Well,
4
there was-
years ago, and they just went
15.
silent?
Well, the word
But
is they had to
did the same
reboot
thing
it.
with Pikmin 3. They did the exact same thing with Pikmin 3. They were talking about Pikmin 3 for nearly a decade.
Yeah.
Was it
and we
ever
kept saying,
officially
"We're still
clarified that the Pikmin game that was on DS was not the new Pikmin project they were referring
they
to?
clarified. They
Okay.
made sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they made sure that that Pikmin 4 that Miyamoto was talking about wasn't Hey Pikmin.
Yeah, because I remember
Got it.
I know there were rumors of it getting rebooted in development at least once.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would
I mean, at
not
this
doubt
point,
it.
it had to
but-
be rebooted or recycled. It's like something had to happen to it, or they're just sitting there and they're waiting for the Pikmin to actually sprout into living creatures. But
I wouldn't put it past Miyamoto.
So let's
but I would also like to add maybe like I think Pikmin 3 might have like 4-player multiplayer added or something like that. Maybe some new maps. I feel like that would come out in like July. And I feel like if 3D World gets ported, I feel like yeah, and it would be all included and stuff like that. And I feel like if Mario 3D World is ported, it will be pretty much the same game, but I think they would add a new character, and it would be Pauline from Mario Odyssey, and she would have a hat on, and you could fling it like you can in Mario Odyssey.
I like it. I like where you're going with this. I like it.
All right.
Well, it makes sense because Rosalina's in Mario 3D World, and she has the spin move from Galaxy, so I feel like they'd probably do an Odyssey thing.
Nate,
and it would be, it would kind of be in line with what they did with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. They would just add one character and call it a day.
Do you, Nate? Do you think that the order goes Pikmin 3 first, then 3D World, both this year?
Yeah, that's how I would release it. I mean, I would put Pikmin 3 probably in the spring because it's flowers and it's blossoming and all that stuff. So throw it in like April, maybe early May type of release. 3D World. I don't know where I would place that. Because to me, it's just not that significant to me.
I think Mario could go pretty much anywhere in the year. I said May for Mario and then July for Pikmin.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd probably swap that. I'd put Mario and I'll say in that July-August spot instead.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
could
Mario
go pretty
3D
much
World,
anywhere.
my guess is going to be that's June, and that Pikmin is like March.
Yeah, so you think...
And that Mario 3D World's right before E3.
Okay, so we think it'll be pretty much Xenoblade paired with a Wii U port to be like kind of some of their summer lineup, sort of.
Yeah, they did that kind of in 2018, where I think in May they had Tropical Freeze and Hyrule Warriors the exact same month.
Okay.
So I feel like they probably do they do Xenoblade 1 for people who want JRPGs, and then you have Mario 3D World for me.
And they could they could have like Doom Eternal that could come out in August or something. I know it's a late port technically, but they could still do something.
Yeah, I hope it's sooner than that, but that is a pretty realistic timeline. I have a feeling the reason they're being so quiet on it is because it's probably a ways back, which really sucks. I do want to add one actual hard prediction though, and I don't know if anyone's going to agree with this, but on the Pikmin thing, I do think we're getting Pikmin 4 announced this year, and I think there is a good chance that it could be in this first direct.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I might be wrong, but I'm gonna make the hard
serious prediction right there.
I'm expecting Pikmin 4. I'm expecting it.
I wouldn't be surprised if, when you bring that up, if they do a Pikmin 4 announcement right after a port of Pikmin 3 announcement where they go, oh, we're bringing over Pikmin 3 maybe as part of a collection, right? It's coming this March. You're going to be able to play all the Pikmin games, and you definitely should before, and then they show a trailer and it's Pikmin 4 and it's a fall game or something.
Which they did with Bayonetta at the Game Awards, by the way.
Okay.
They did that same thing. They said, here's a collection of Bayonetta 1 and 2, and everyone's like, hey, that's really neat. And then Reggie's like, oh, but wait, check this out. And then it was Bayonetta 3.
So
they're just gonna reuse the Metroid Prime 4 teaser. they're just gonna show the 4 on screen.
Let's
that becomes like their stock video for every time they want to announce a game. They just
I hope they use the 4 from Metroid Prime 4 for Pikmin 4 in the logo. That'd be amazing.
So we've
but also there's one more Wii U game. I'm looking at my shelf. There's Paper Mario Color Splash.
Which
may lead into
go.
rumors.
Okay.
There's gonna be a new Paper Mario game.
Okay, let's get into some of the rumors and some of the thoughts on brand new games or titles that they could announce at this direct, and we're gonna have way more than they would ever announce at one direct like last time. What did we, Nate? How many games did we say we're gonna be there? Like 40 something games?
Yeah, I think we had like 45 to 50 games in the September direct, and we probably really had about. We're just spread shotting. We're just trying to hit something, right? That's the whole thing. We probably still only had like a hit ratio of about 1 out of every 10.
Hey, we got one though there,
I predicted there would be no Mario 3D World, so
he did.
That a win.
He did. Yeah.
There you go.
I think we got that in Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah. Accidentally, air quotes, got Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So what game? We just talked about the games that they've kind of put out, kind of in their roadmap and some of those Wii U ports. Let's talk about some games that are not on this roadmap that they might hit us with surprises, because they did kind of put out there as part of this roadmap that they have some big announcements coming.
What a shock.
I'd be concerned if they didn't.
I can't believe Nintendo actually
that's
put
it.
that.
Hey,
They had to tell us.
that's headline worthy right there. Big announcements, man. Teasing.
I mean, I thought Animal Crossing was the last game they were going to put out this year.
Oh yeah. hey, there are legitimate concerns here, man. So let's talk about some of the stuff they could announce, because Scott, you were just alluding to some rumors.
Yeah, Color Splash is coming.
Oh boy. Okay.
God.
Color Splash was okay.
Color
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't Sticker Star. You're right.
Yeah, it was fine. It was bad,
So
but
is
it was
Star Fox
fine.
Zero.
Let's not get crazy here.
Well, that's a little bit.
Okay, so the rumor is that there is a new Paper Mario game, not a remaster or anything, and that it's more of a traditional Paper Mario as it's been described by who was this described by, Nate?
Sabi was the name,
Oh,
right?
Zippo?
Or
Zippo.
Zippo the lighter?
Hey, if Nintendo's coming after anyone, you might as well let them know who actually leaked it. Yeah, Zippo posted that there was talks about a Paper Mario game, and that's exciting because it sounds like the way that this is being described more along the lines of a 1,000-Year Door type Paper Mario game.
See, I can't do this to myself. I can't, because I am of the mindset that I liked Super Paper Mario for what it was, but I was admittedly disappointed at the time, and it's just gotten progressively worse to me. And I know a lot of people really love 1,000-Year Door, but I truly kind of feel like Paper Mario peaked with the very first one. I love the original Paper Mario. And I like 1,000-Year Door, don't get me wrong. I think that's a great game, and I also think Super Paper Mario is good. But I feel like nothing else has ever really totally captured the magic of that first game again. And so like this whole Paper Mario return to form thing almost sounds like a pipe dream to me. It sounds like what a 4chan fan fiction of a Nintendo Direct announcement would be like. Sure. And that's not to say that, I don't want leaks. I would, yeah, right. And I would love a return to form Paper Mario. But if they were going to do that, I think it would make such a wave within the community. They could actually rely on that as one of their big holiday games. And if that's the case, would they really do like Odyssey 2 then later this year?
What if that's the Mario game?
Exactly. So that's my point, is that maybe Scott's right, and that Mario Odyssey is in fact, like the sequel is actually next year, and that this year the Mario games are 3D World, like a port of 3D World in the first half of the year, and then an actual return to form Paper Mario in the latter half.
To be fair, Super Paper Mario came out the same year as Galaxy.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
Look at Scott flexing that history right there. Scott,
dude, I love years. That's all I really know. Like I barely played Xenoblade, and I still knew when that came out in North America.
Well, if they do a Paper Mario, a new one that goes back to form, they got to bring back the commercials where they have like the shredder in the office and like they're holding Peach over it.
They have, well, I mean the free demo that you could get out of a magazine.
Oh, that was great. Oh, I love that.
I can't do that now, but
I have a very specific prediction now that we're talking about this. But I don't think it's for this Direct, but it's related to what we're talking about. If Paper Mario gets announced during this Nintendo Direct, my prediction is that either during E3 or before the end of the year, I feel like it would have to be at E3 if the time frame is going to work, Paper Mario is going to be one of the Fighter Pass characters.
Ooh.
That'll be fun.
Because we've now seen with Violet that they can do first-party characters, and Paper Mario is a very big franchise for them, regardless of what you think of the quality of the series now. And if they really did want to push that as one of their big holiday games, I certainly would not be surprised to have Nintendo go, well, you know what? Let's just throw Paper Mario in there. He could do a lot of interesting things. Sakurai clarified in that last Smash Direct that he likes to make these characters interesting and play differently. And clearly, I mean, Paper Mario would clearly play differently. They wouldn't make him like an Echo Fighter of Mr. Game & Watch. He would have the origami moves and everything.
He would be a great addition, but it's funny because the idea of another Mario character in the same week of the conversation of so many Fire Emblem characters, and a lot of people have brought up like, well, you think there's too many Fire Emblem, but what about all the Mario and Pokemon characters?
Oh, I guarantee I guarantee you nobody is going to complain when Geno gets announced, all right?
I agree.
That's the Mario characters.
I'm just pointing out the way people have talked about it, and just it would be very interesting to see how people would react. I think I'm not even really a huge Paper Mario fan, but I think he would be a great fit for the game.
Sure.
I'd love to see
Paper Mario's hit every Nintendo home console for the most part since the N64, so it's actually been relevant for a while.
True. That's a good point, actually.
So sure, throw it on get a new one on the Switch. Why not? Absolutely.
I can see the Paper Mario opening up the Direct, kind of like how Mario Maker 2 did last year. I can definitely see that. And then if there's a new 2D Metroid game, I feel like that would end the Direct. Because I feel like that's more of a stinger. That's more of something to kind of like end things out on.
It hits hard.
Yeah, Paper Mario isn't really like this crazy thing that just punches you right in the face. It's more so like, oh, new Paper Mario and stuff like you know exactly what it is.
Here's how I think they open the Direct. They have like a paper airplane flying in from the side, and it unfolds and
Cute.
it's Paper Mario.
Cute.
Oh,
I
for
love
some
it.
reason, I was kind of thinking like, like the book in Paper Mario, it might like kind of like open up on that. I feel like that would kind of get a lot of people excited. Or like, yeah, the paper airplane would be a big
Let's
one.
hear Nate. I didn't hear Nate laughing in the background at all, so we might be okay to ask him about that. What do you think? What do you think about Paper Mario, Nate? Is it time for it to come back as a more traditional Paper Mario?
Well, I mean, the timing makes sense. It's been 4 years since the last Paper Mario. The one prior to that was in 2012. So the timing makes sense for a Paper Mario game to return. And the rumors are out there. I guess, I'm not big on the Paper Mario franchise because they literally have not been good in over a decade. So if they do return to form, it'd be another RPG coming to the Switch this year, because if we look at the roadmap between Xenoblade, The Outer Worlds, it just seems like Nintendo's kind of going like RPG heavy in 2020.
Trials of Mana, Bravely Default, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. It's an RPG onslaught.
RPG heavy. Nintendo has gone RPG heavy for pretty much like every year in a row now. I remember in 2016 they pretty much had nothing but RPGs on 3DS.
Scott would know. He doesn't like RPGs. He's just looking at
that
just
I know
mad
for
the
a
whole
fact.
time.
That was my least favorite year of my life. That was terrible. But they've definitely gone RPG heavy here and there. But I think Paper Mario is kind of an exception. It's kind of like the exception to a lot of people who just don't like RPGs. A lot of people that don't like RPGs, they have a fondness for like Paper Mario. So I don't really think that's like a big deal if they already have a lot of RPGs this year.
If they do close out on that 2D Metroid, that would hit hard though. I think you're right. Scott. That would hit hard especially if it's what the so the 2D Metroid's been getting kicked around for a while now, right, Nate?
Almost 3 years.
We've been kicking this thing around forever. It feels like now. Which leads me to believe that it's probably been in development for a little while now, since it's been talked about for so much.
Samus Returns ended on a cliffhanger. Was that like alluding to a new game, or was that alluding to another remake? I forget.
Well, it could be leading to a new game, but I think that people get really excited about that, and the SAX shows up, and it's like kind of hinting at some of the Chozo lore, and it's a really exciting kind of final ending. But we also have to remember that game is the second in the series,
right?
Even though the Prime trilogy takes place between 1 and 2, I think people forget that sometimes. So it's like the fourth game if you think about all those together, or the fifth game. But it is in the Metroid too. There's 3 other games that chronologically take place after that game. So if Samus Returns ending is hinting to something, it would almost have to be another game that's not going to go forward in time, which is what I'm hoping this game is, Metroid 5.
Well, the idea here is, according to Sabi on Twitter, who had that and then kind of elaborated on it, seemed to be related to Fusion.
And so,
which I because of the SAX stuff, that just like you were mentioning in Samus Returns, and I feel like Mercury Steam has proven themselves with Samus Returns. I feel like that really was a great remake. Game. Certainly much better than I expected initially. And to go off of what you guys were talking about with the way that they announce it, I could easily see this working in the same way that Samus Returns did during the E3 it got announced, in which it's almost to appease those Metroid fans for having to wait just a little longer, where they could end the direct and say, hey, I know a lot of people have been expecting news on Metroid Prime 4. It's still well in development, but we're just not ready to talk about it yet. However, we do have something for you fans. Take a look, and we'll see you during the next direct or whatever. And then it goes into the trailer, and like you said, maybe it's Metroid 5 or it has some type of subtitle or whatever. But I also agree. I think we're all kind of in unanimous agreement that it's going to be some type of sequel game to Fusion, developed by the same people who did Samus Returns.
Yeah, because like I feel like, I mean, like it could be a remake. That's just a thing. But like I feel like after Samus Returns, I feel like Nintendo doesn't want to do 2 Metroid remakes in a row, especially right after like announcing Metroid Prime 4. Like they want to at least, like, maybe if they're gonna do remakes, they want to do a remake and original. So I feel like it would make sense for them to do a sequel to Metroid Fusion, being Metroid 5. And then after that, they could maybe do Prime Trilogy released on Switch, and then they do Metroid Prime 4. So
and really, if you look at this year, it's pretty remake heavy as it is, with Mystery Dungeon, Xenoblade Chronicles. I mean, they are going pretty full force into remakes. So it would be strange for them to then announce another one. And it's not like they'd be remaking a game that not a lot of people have played, similar to Samus Returns. Super Metroid is beloved by everybody. It's like unanimously seen as one of the greatest games ever made. So that's a Herculean task for Mercury Steam to have to do, to remake one of the greatest video games of all time.
Yeah,
so it might be easier for them to make a new one.
Didn't they pitch a Super Metroid remake originally?
If they did, that's very brave of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think like if it's done right, I think that would be like okay, just because like that would introduce so many more people to that game. But you know, definitely, it would be that would be way too much.
I in no way, shape, or form am really expecting whatever 2D Metroid game we might get announced to be a remake. I think it's absolutely something new. Okay. And I actually discussed this on my video I posted today. You know, the quote on Twitter said that it is a Metroid Fusion related game.
Yes.
And to me, I mean, the only thing that really makes sense and that people would actually want is a sequel to Fusion. I don't know if they would do some weird spin-off about the SAX gene or some kind of like other prequel that takes place between Other M and Fusion, which is what that game would almost have to be. It just makes sense for it to be a sequel. And I'll add another hard prediction here for this Nintendo Direct. I absolutely think Metroid is coming this year in some way.
Ooh,
and so
okay.
I think there's I'm going to call this a pseudo hard direction. Okay, first one, Pikmin 4, I think will show up in this Direct. This one I think will happen in 2020, but I'm not dead set in it showing up in the first Direct. But we're going to get a Metroid game this year. I firmly believe it.
Okay,
it's going to happen.
Do you think there's potential for that Metroid game being the long-awaited Metroid Prime Trilogy HD?
Oh, I hope so. I hope
it's always possible, right? It's always on the table.
Pinball and hunters.
Because really, it's been a long time since Prime 3 was released.
Hey, don't no talking smack about Federation Force. This thing jumped up to number 26 in the UK sales charts this past week.
Wow. Hey, real talk, Federation Force is not that bad.
Do you know why it jumped up to there?
It got announced at a bad time.
The reason it jumped up there, I believe, is because the UK sales charts, it tracks by volume sold, and retailer liquidated all their copies.
It is pretty amazing to think that the year that game was announced was also the year for Ultra Smash, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and Star Fox Zero. That is quite possibly the darkest Nintendo E3.
No.
That was bad. That was the worst E3 presentation of all time because like they were following up 2014 and it was really good. Like they used the exact same format, but it was so bad.
Man,
I 2015 had like the marionette versions of Iwata and Reggie and everything. You know, they opened up with. Man, I was so hyped
good.
The way that thing was. I was like freaking out in my chair, and then it was just downhill from.
I really wish I was around online for that Direct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for some reason, Nintendo was a really big fan of using subtitles that ended with Ash during that era. There was Ziplash, there was Ultra Smash, and there was Color Splash.
Oh,
like all within a year of each other. I don't know why.
All right. So close out with Metroid. Yeah, you know what? I would be okay if they had to pick one or the other. I'd be okay with either that or Prime Trilogy HD. I'm okay with either one.
Yeah, if I had to choose a Metroid to close out the Direct, I'd go with Prime Trilogy. I don't think we see a 2D Metroid at this Direct.
Are they gonna let us off the hook finally, Nate? Prime Trilogy
if we're
HD,
lucky,
come on.
But I have a feeling Nintendo will probably torture us a little longer.
All right, fine.
I think so too. I think it's farther off, sadly.
All right. Did you have to run, Nate?
I've been able to postpone my engagement a little bit.
Okay.
So ominous.
All right. Let's move into some of the stuff outside of those rumors that is not. It's not on this little list here of the roadmap, because I heard Scott had some predictions. I heard Roger had some. I heard everybody had predictions. Okay, so let's hear them.
Well, in terms of stuff on the roadmap, I will at least say I feel like there will be an Animal Crossing Switch Lite edition announced at the Direct.
Mm-hmm. I like the sound of that.
Be white, and it'll have little polka dot design stuff. They had like a 3DS XL that they released with New Leaf, and I feel like it's gonna look exactly like that. So I feel like there's gonna be an Animal Crossing edition Switch Lite announced.
That's another $1 trillion in Nintendo.
I was gonna say that's just that's gonna be something else.
I think.
How about Oh no, go ahead.
I kind of wanted to roll into a few potential third-party game releases that they might announce, because they do that a lot in Nintendo Directs, and I think it's been really fascinating following the third-party situation for Nintendo in the Switch era, because we've gotten a lot of really cool surprises. And I mean, some games that come to my head that could show up at any Direct this year, including this first one. We've all talked about Grand Theft Auto forever. I think it's just going to be on our list as a maybe until it finally shows up. I don't know if I see Red Dead Redemption, but one I've been waiting for a long time is Nier Automata.
Oh,
so you stole one of my predictions.
I could see into the future, man. I knew what you were going to say, so I had to snag it. But I think that game will show up on the Switch eventually, and I think it could be this year and maybe even this Direct.
That's a good one.
Yep, completely agree. Because I also, if you had to ask me, I'm a betting man, and I actually just recorded a couple hours ago a video predicting some of the Fighter Pass characters. One thing that's sorely missing, I hate to bring it back to Smash Brothers, but you guys invited me here, so I have to, is one of the things I keep thinking about in terms of Fighter Pass characters is we don't have a girl yet. Like, Byleth is, female and male Byleth. We don't have a standalone girl. Well, okay, Kazooie's part of Banjo, though, but like a standalone female character, I feel like is something that's greatly needed. And the one icon that I keep going back to within the past decade really is 2B.
Yeah, 2B.
And that does seem like a game that would make a lot of sense on Switch. And again, they could easily, cross promote it with 2B being in Smash, maybe even announced at E3 or something. I think it's too early for another announcement of another DLC character for this next Direct, but I still think Nier is a good choice.
I love that to death. I think 2B could happen, but I will counter with Lara Croft.
I was thinking Lara Croft for a minute there too.
Yeah, and that's also technically another Square Enix character. So that, I mean, it's kind of between them, to be honest.
Yeah. See, the weird thing is that 2B would double as a Square rep and a Platinum Games rep, and both of which already have characters in the game. So
yeah.
I
feel like 2B would probably fit a little more, just because Lara Croft's new design is so realistic. And 2B still kind of has
I would prefer
I can
the
definitely
older
see
design.
that working.
I think it should be the older design.
Polygonal.
Oh god.
Well, there's an in between. There's an in between version in the early 2000s that's pretty good, and so maybe.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But in terms of the core new design, I just kind of feel like 2B could definitely be kind of that another Joker-esque character. Or I don't know, that kind of fits into where Joker was.
Well, I'm glad you just said Joker, because that leads directly into one of my predictions. I think first off, we are absolutely going to see a trailer for Persona Scramble. That game comes out in Japan, I think in February, and there's still, I don't think, any North American announcement for that game yet. I think we will probably see that during this Direct. In fact, that's a hard prediction, as I think we're going to see a Persona Scramble trailer during this Direct. But I also think that now that Persona 5 Royal is so close to getting released, they are finally going to say, yep, that is coming to Switch. I think there were all these rumors about Persona 5 Vanilla coming to Switch while Royal was going to come to the other systems, and there was some type of exclusivity deal, and I truly don't think that's true. I think at any point they can go, you know what, we're going to put Royal on there. But as we've seen time and time again with these third parties, right, we assumed that Crash would come to Switch at some point. We assumed Spyro would come to Switch. And then we have just a couple months after they get released, bada bing, bada boom, oh, look, the game gets announced for Switch. And right now, obviously, Royal still has to come out in North America, but the game has been out in Japan for a couple months now. And ultimately, in terms of this type of announcement, I think that's really all that matters. And I think we'll get a Persona 5 Royal announcement for Switch to be released later this year during this Direct.
So I feel like, I don't know, I do kind of feel like there is kind of an under the table agreement between Atlas and PlayStation, just because whenever I see they do the core Persona series has never left PlayStation, but whenever Atlas does a spin-off, they jump to new platforms all the time. Right. You see that with Q2, Persona Q. You saw that with we're seeing that with Scramble. The Persona 4 fighting games came out on Xbox and stuff like that. I feel like, people have said oh, well, I feel like Atlas only puts it on PlayStation just because that's the only place they know it'll sell. But if that was the case, then they wouldn't have put all those spin-offs on other platforms, because that doesn't make any sense if the core Persona games aren't on there. So I feel like
I'm glad you brought up those spin-offs too, because I also think that we'll get the announcement, maybe not in this Direct, but very in the near future, the announcement of the Dancing Starlight games that recently were released. The Persona 5 Dancing Starlight games coming to Switch.
Even though those also have only been on PlayStation, however, they would never put those out on Xbox.
No.
That wouldn't make any sense. So I can definitely see those coming.
Maybe
over.
If they put it out and it was in a Blu-ray case and they sold it as a Blu-ray next to the Blu-ray player that they think the Xbox is. There you go.
But there is
I thought you were saying like Atlas was gonna like hide.
Oh no, that's how they.
If they were gonna, if they were going to release Persona 5, they would hide from Sony by putting the Switch game in a PS4 case.
And this is another third-party thing, real quick. I want to mention. Just I think we all know this is happening at this point now that we've seen the ratings board thing. But I think absolutely, positively during this next direct, we see Bioshock Collection announced for Switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to happen. And I think that's really going to, no pun intended, make waves. I think there's going to be a lot of people discussing having that series on the Switch. And I mean, personally, Bioshock is one of my favorite non-Nintendo franchises. I love the original Bioshock to the point where I auditioned in college in my theater program with Andrew Ryan's monologue from the end of the game, and I got in.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I stayed home from school for 3 days in college, literally skipped 3 days of classes to play through Bioshock 2 twice in its first week of release.
Wow.
And then also did the exact same thing for Bioshock Infinite, where I think it was like right after I graduated, Bioshock Infinite came out, and I literally didn't do anything for like 3 days. I just stayed at home and played that. And so I'll be happily replaying that once it comes to Switch. And I think that's a really great get for them. So that'll have to happen during this direct.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I would love to see that happen.
All right, let's get serious for a minute. Okay, so
Let's get serious.
hard prediction here while we're doing these hard predictions. So,
Dear God.
okay. Well, no, I this is an easy. I think this is a safe one or an easier one. I have one of those dear God moments later. Don't worry, Nate. I'm gonna go with Bayonetta 3 is coming in October. They're gonna announce that it has the
I
date.
wrote that down specifically.
October, Bayonetta 3. It gets actual gameplay, and I think it's gonna be a little different than people are anticipating it being. I don't think it's gonna be like traditional Bayonetta. I think there might be different aspects that they add into it. I think that's why it's taking so long.
I've been waiting for that Bayonetta dating sim, so this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be Bayonetta Kart.
Well, they've had interviews where they've talked about how they were trying different things in development overall. So.
Maybe like what do you think it could be? Like maybe some online stuff or?
That's yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. That's what I mean. I don't know if they're gonna just do like a big open world style Bayonetta. I'm not sure. It could be.
I mean, it's funny that we even talk about this because I randomly have popped Bayonetta 2 back on this past week just because I was feeling it, and I don't have it on the Switch. I very proudly play it on my Wii U, and I love it on my Wii U, and I'm just like, God damn, this game is just so good, and I've been starting to think about Bayonetta 3 obviously as I've been playing through it, and revisiting that game, which I thought when it came out is a 10 out of 10, and I pretty much still agree. I think the game is amazing. But I start to envision what a modern Bayonetta could be like because I kind of have been surprised how I hate to use the word dated because it sounds way more negative than I mean it to be. But there's like a dated-ish. Like it almost feels like, wow, 2014 was maybe farther back than I remember. And so I'm like, yeah, maybe they do need to do something with Bayonetta 3 to make it feel more modern. Because if it does feel just like Bayonetta 2, only prettier, it might not be as good as we want. And so I think, John, I might be on the same tip. Like they've got to kind of tweak that game and the gameplay just a bit to make it modern. But they can't make it feel not Bayonetta either, right? So
right.
I don't know what it would be.
Yeah. So I think October is a good month for that one. For them to release it. I also think for third party, I have Darksiders 3 getting announced as a late port. Why not? That one's, I think, pretty straightforward there. It's a good game, too, if people haven't played it.
We're getting Genesis this year, so.
Genesis is out in February. Yeah, so that's actually out in like 4 weeks. I played through it on the PC. I really liked that. That was a fun game to play through. I think people should check it out.
Is it good? Did you dig it?
I did. I liked it. It was fun. It's basically Darksiders mixed with Gauntlet mixed with Diablo. Yes, and I played through it. It was like a 15-hour game actually. It was a little longer than I thought it would be, so it was pretty good overall.
Nice. Did you play it on Stadia?
No,
okay.
I have some pride. I played it on PC. That's going. And then I think for an unannounced first-party game, I'm going to go back to I guess it'd be Next Level. It'd be Next Level Games. I think a Mario Strikers coming back would be really cool. Yeah.
Mario Sports. Yeah.
I mean, Luigi's Man, they're still working on DLC, so I don't know if it's like right now, but like maybe later in the year, maybe during like the September Direct they could do that. I don't know.
I thought they might want to have it out near or around the Tokyo Olympics because they're doing soccer.
Well, to be fair, we are kind of due for another Mario Sports game. You know, there's like baseball, golf, and strikers. I feel like golf may seem...
Yeah, it's probably going to be
I'm
golf.
all about that golf life.
I want strikers, man. I want strikers.
I like golf.
I know. Everyone likes golf. I want strikers.
Yeah, I definitely want golf more.
Tennis, and I hate that. Tennis is my least
I agree, dude. I do not like Mario Tennis. I just don't. But I will agree with you, John. I actually think that honestly, strikers probably makes more sense for the Switch audience right now. Even though I want golf.
There are.
If I had to bet, I would bet on strikers.
There are still some GameCube games you can load up with that HDMI in adapter and progressive scan, and they still look really, really good, even on like a 50-inch panel. You can load up Mario Strikers. Metroid Prime would be one of them, and Paper Mario is another. Just because of that art style, it works well still. But Mario Strikers still plays really, really well, and I would like to see that because the Wii version was not very good.
Did Wind Waker use progressive scan on the GameCube? Do you know?
Yes.
I think
I bet that looks
most
really good
Nintendo games. I think most Nintendo games use
Probably
progressive
did.
scan.
Yeah, they wanted to sell those cables. Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh! By the way, do we even want to talk about the possibility of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess?
Oh gosh,
that's a lot of. I mean, I haven't really been feeling those are going to happen, but a lot of people very much.
How many
are.
Wii U Ports do we need
After
this year?
I mean,
After Breath
I
of the
agree-
Wild 2.
I agree, but I'm just saying people talk about it. So
Yeah, on the topic of Zelda, I'll say this, is I think at some point we may get Wind Waker and we may get Twilight Princess. I personally would much rather have a Wind Waker port than like 3D World or even Pikmin 3. I would love to have Wind Waker HD on the Switch. But I actually think before we get either of those ported, not saying this will happen during this Direct, but I could see Grizzo remaking another Zelda game. Either like a remake of maybe a lesser known one like Zelda 2, maybe Oracles would be neat. Or, I mean, maybe even if they gave them Skyward Sword would be kind of interesting too. I know that's been a long awaited thing. People talking about bringing back Skyward Sword. I think if they gave that to Grezzo, that would certainly be some type of interesting announcement. I just don't necessarily know if that would happen during this Direct. You know?
Well,
like, just too early and too close to Link's Awakening.
Well, I got a bit of an out there prediction in terms of the Zelda series. So, pretty much every single Direct since Nintendo Switch Online was introduced back in September of 2018, they have kind of shown off kind of a new incentive, a free little incentive to subscribe to the app. You know, we got the NES games, and then we got Tetris 99, we got like Super Kirby Clash, whatever that was, and you know, the SNES games and stuff like that. I feel like they're gonna do. I mean, like I don't feel like, but I just came up with this idea. It's a free to play 4 Swords.
I was
game
hoping you were going to say 4 Swords.
The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Frenzy.
5 swords.
It's new. It's free to play online only. The microtransactions come in costumes. It'll be kind of like they had Triforce Heroes on the 3DS. You could do costumes in that and stuff like that. It'll be better than Triforce Heroes, but you know, it'll be kind of like a combination of those two.
Awesome.
It might be it might kind of reuse either like the style that 4 Swords originally did, where it's just sprites, or they might reuse assets from Link's Awakening or something like that. It'll be like easy drop in, drop out. You go in, solve a puzzle with 3 other players, and then you're done. Stuff like that.
I love it.
I like that idea.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Idea.
I love the idea of that game. I just would want it to be like a real game, not so much like the free to play kind of thing. I would just love it if they just made like a $60 really fully fleshed out game like that. That would be my preference. But
well, on the topic of free to play first party Nintendo Switch Online exclusives, I'm glad you mentioned some of these games. Well, because there's a very specific idea that I have in mind. Now, I know Fortnite gets a lot of love, right? A lot of people love to play Fortnite. The game is a free to play online battle royale. But I'm going to tell you guys this. There was a game that did Battle Royale better a decade before Fortnite, and that is Kirby Air Ride City Trial. I would absolutely love to see Nintendo bring back City Trial, just that mode. I don't really need the other modes of Air Ride, but the City Trial mode, as the Nintendo Switch Online first-party game for this year. They do like their Kirby. I think we're kind of due for another one. I know we got that Kirby the Fighters game last year, but let's be real, that's not what we want. We want City Trial to come back. City Trial HD or Kirby Battle Royale City Trial, whatever they want to call it. Some type of City Trial with online, maybe up to 8 players, and it's only on Nintendo Switch Online. You have to be a subscriber to have it, but it's going to be free to play.
Wow,
Boom.
that would be a good one.
That's deep in the well. I did not expect that at all.
Oh man. I have some more third-party stuff. 13 gets a date, I assume. I don't think it's gonna be a shadow drop. I think that'll just be shown a date. That's one that people should check out if they haven't played it. And then I have one for Rob, but it'll make Nate say, "Oh dear God," again.
I'm ready though.
A shadow drop even. I think.
God, there it comes.
Uh-oh.
I think Jedi Academy gets shadow dropped at the direct.
We've been waiting on it.
Yes, we have. Yes, so we had Jedi Outcast that Nate hates, and
What? Jedi Outcast is great.
right?
That
See,
game
thank you.
is-
And then,
that game was not good.
but Jedi Academy has the online, Rob. So that's what we were waiting
Yeah.
for. Yep. Okay.
Well,
good.
and it's funny. I'm glad you bring it up because that is, I think, the game that was kind of lost in the announcement of Jedi Outcast. People didn't really catch the extra blurb that Jedi Academy is also coming sometime later.
Oh yes.
So
yes.
and I am very excited. That game is underrated, man. That didn't get as much love when back in the day, and I think the Xbox when it came out. It's a good game.
And I want to do one because you guys were talking about Mario games and some Zelda and all this other stuff. I'm gonna go in a different direction. Okay, the holiday game I think is Mario Kart 9.
Oh, that is a big. And you know what? Okay, I like the idea of it. It's definitely possible because again, Nintendo is impossible to predict.
Yeah,
so it could happen. But I've actually wondered for a long time. Tell me what you guys think of this. If in fact a newer Switch, and I'm not talking about a Switch Pro, I'm talking about more of a successor thing, is let's just say it's even 3 years down the line.
Okay.
Would it be smarter for Nintendo to have a Mario Kart 9 prepared for the launch of that, even if it was a cross-gen?
It's a good question.
Well,
And I kind of wonder if, because I mean, Mario Kart 8 alone was so successful. What if they could launch the next Switch with a new Mario Kart 9, but Breath of the Wild it, so that they don't miss out on the Switch install base?
Mario Kart is a system seller now. Yeah.
They could. The interesting alternative to this, and the argument that I would make is, if they're going to do a second Mario Kart on the system, which has never been done before, it needs to be very different from Mario Kart 8. And I wouldn't doubt that they would maybe want to save Mario Kart 9 for whatever the next Switch is going to be in 5 years or whatever. But if they end up either differentiating it enough where it's like an adventure game similar to CTR or Diddy Kong Racing, I think that could maybe be an alternative, like Mario Kart Adventure or something like that. Or if they go full on Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and they do Mario Nintendo All-Stars Racing and it's like a Smash Brothers kart. Because to me, they tested the waters with that a little bit with 8, with Link and then the Splatoon characters and the Animal Crossing characters. Just bite the bullet. We're not going to get another F-Zero. We're probably not getting another Wave Race. Just let's do it.
That would
right?
be.
Give us Warp Stars. Give us Kirby. Give us Captain Falcon and his racer. Give us Samus and her little gunship. I mean, just go balls.
It could be like Mario Kart Ultimate, and they just update it constantly going forward with new characters that they show at directs.
Make it really evergreen, right? In that respect. It would be, man. You know what? Gosh, the more I think about
Smash Kart, that seems like an E3 announcement, doesn't it?
Yeah, it might be. That might be.
We kind of. I think we keep forgetting we're talking about this first direct of the year, and we're just every game ever, just throw it into this direct. I have to say, John, man, you make a good point. If they did something like that with what you guys are talking about with Mario Kart, and they adopt the same culture they have around Smash Brothers and character reveals into their other massive franchise, Mario Kart, that is huge. Well, forget about it. That is such a crazy concept.
The reason I think Mario Kart 9 could work now rather than later is because the next Switch will most likely, we assume anyway, be backwards compatible with the current Switch games. So they could continue selling Mario Kart 9 into the next generation as it is now, except maybe they'll come out with Mario Kart 9 Ultimate and they'll literally bundle everything onto the cartridge that was DLC for the past 2 years or something before the new system.
Interesting that you mentioned the reveal trailer thing for Mario Kart 2, because I think it'd be very strange of them if they were going to do that, to not adopt that same mentality of really bringing the hype whenever they introduce a new franchise to it. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but the Rosalina reveal for Super Smash Bros. 4 was basically Mario Kart. It was Kirby flying in to Rainbow Road.
Kirby.
And a lot of people, myself included, did not think that was a Smash reveal initially because I saw it when it actually aired for the first time, and they didn't have the Smash Fire in front of it when you first watched the trailer. So I assumed, oh, Kirby's going to be thrown into Mario Kart. That's a really neat thing. And it was only until Rosalina rockets in that I realized, oh my gosh, it's a Smash reveal. So that'd be really cool for them to do that. Yeah.
Good times.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, Nate, what do you got for us?
Oh boy, let's see some random predictions.
So this is what Nate's gonna do. Okay, he's gonna throw a bunch of random stuff out there, and hidden in all the random stuff is gonna be something that actually is correct. Okay, let's hear it.
One
Nate.
real thing.
Let's hear about all the ridiculousness, and then that one thing that just gets thrown out there.
All right, I'll make them sound a little more believable then.
Okay.
They can't be figured out.
Okay. That works.
A new game from the Mario Kart team. It won't be a Mario Kart game though.
Oh. All right.
It'll be something else.
Okay.
I mean, the last game they put out was ARMS, so it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see more of Ring Fit Adventure. That was a huge success to do some DLC packs of some kind.
Yeah,
of
but
Cool.
Nintendo generally likes to keep that stuff separate from the Direct for some reason. Like
Yeah, but they want you to get that summer body going, so they're going to have the dragon beat you up for being lazy during the holidays.
Summer vibe.
Maybe we see the return of Wii Sports as like Wii Sports or a 3-4 Switch.
That would actually make some sense because people will be all about like the sports and stuff during the Olympics over the summer if they did that.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy.
I love Wii Sports Resort.
I'll say,
That's
don't
like-
you keep asking for
so
that,
good.
Scott? Wii Sports.
Yeah, I'd love. What did I want? Me Sports. It's Me Sports.
That's right.
And to be honest, they don't really utilize the Mii's as much anymore. That would be cool to actually have them thrown in something.
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
moved
that would
away
be
from it
great,
except for
but
Smash.
The most
yeah,
I
but
see
that's
the
kind of
Mii's
because they
used.
had to, because the Ultimate had to bring back
And
everybody.
at this point, really, when we're talking about Mii's and Smash Brothers, nobody plays as a Mii. They play as Sans and Cuphead. All right, we're not playing as
They do
regular
now, yeah.
Mii's anymore.
You're right. That is all
All
they
right.
use.
What else you got, Nate?
Let's think of some third-party stuff. What's a random-ass third-party game?
You're just trying to you're making
Halo.
stuff up on the go here. Oh yeah, what about
Yeah,
Halo,
basically.
Nate? Where's that?
Halo,
Halo's coming.
Halo? Hell no.
Phil Spencer's gonna walk onto the direct stage there, like in the middle of the direct.
There ain't gonna be no Halo at the direct in the first direct of the year. It's
Nah,
gonna be no
that sounds
Halo
like
show.
that
mean,
sounds like
three coming in
E3
second.
talk.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
E3.
yeah.
I mean, the test
all right,
flights for
let's-
that first Halo start next month, though, huh?
Let's think something. All right, let's go something along that path. Microsoft announces Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie HD for Switch as an eShop release.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
I'd buy that. All right.
As an eShop release?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a digital. I could see that.
Oh, let's put that on a
seems like that
cartridge.
would be-
Put that thing on a cartridge, man.
game.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't want it physical, but I think it could be possible digital.
Huh. All right.
Have they still not released Cuphead on physically at all?
No,
I don't think they
that's
have.
the DLC has to come out first.
Okay.
Oh,
That
there's
means we'll probably see
something.
the Cuphead DLC.
There you go. Yeah, we'll see
Oh.
Cuphead DLC in this direct. I could see them doing that.
Okay.
And we get a release date for Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that seems likely.
There's a lot of safe predictions over there, Nate. I gotta say.
Well, all right. Square Enix announces Final Fantasy VII Remake Chapter 2 as a Switch exclusive.
Okay. Well, now you're just
coming
all
out
right.
Man,
in
I
April
was-
2020.
Finally.
I was almost on board for a hot second then, and then it just swerved downward. And it was
Finally.
All right, you know
I
what?
do-
Let's go crazy then. If we're talking Final Fantasy, we're already on the topic, and no, I'm not talking about Crystal Chronicles. They have mentioned for years that they want to do this, but they haven't gotten around to doing it
Oh,
yet.
14.
Yes, I would not be
Ooh.
surprised to see Final Fantasy 14 announced as coming to Switch.
They figured out the crossplay stuff apparently because Microsoft is getting it now.
Yep.
Oh.
I wrote down they port like the stuff before 7, like how they did with Dragon Quest 1 through 3. They use like the mobile ports. I think they might do like a few of like 1 through 6 in some way, but like the mobile versions on Switch.
Okay.
Well, didn't they already bring all the Final Fantasy games?
They brought
they did, like,
7, 8,
7.
9, 10, 10
7
2.
through 12.
The ones
and that,
people
so
really
that
like.
didn't include the older ones. Okay.
Oh, where's
gotcha.
13? 13's not there yet.
Good.
Yeah, where's all 9 13 games?
Yeah, we need all 13 games.
Did they ever release 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns as a trilogy pack?
No.
I think so.
Did-
No, that doesn't exist?
They did
No?
12.
They
They did 10, 12. 13.
Thir-
I don't think 13's even on like PS4 or Xbox One or anything.
Interesting.
It's back. I know it's backwards compatible now on the Xbox One X, and it has like the enhancements, so it looks really good. But the problem that game was so like even on the PC, it had problems when it launched, like to where it was locked to 720p or something on PC. It was super weird, and it was like 60 or 70 gigabytes. It was insane. So that game's had some troubled history anyway.
See, speaking of retro style games, I think Konami finally will announce the second version of the Castlevania collection, and it's going to be the Game Boy Advance and DS Castlevania title.
Okay.
Yeah,
no.
I did have that written down.
Okay,
It's,
you just brought up
I like
Konami.
that.
They
Okay,
could
no,
take all my
no,
money.
All right.
no,
If we're
no,
going to stay
no.
on Konami, then I'm also going to bring up
Come on,
an
do it.
HD
Say it,
version
say it.
Yes.
of
Yes, say it.
Klonoa.
Oh no!
man, another
That's
nose down,
Namco.
Nate.
You can't be saying that.
What?
Come
no,
on. All right,
no.
I'm gonna say what everybody actually wanted. Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 collection on the
Yes,
Switch.
HD collection. It'll probably.
I was hoping for Silent Hill.
But
I'm waiting for Silent Hill.
It would probably just be 2, 3, and Peace Walker, because they didn't even do 1 in like the HD collection for the 360 and all of that. But even that.
Well, that would differentiate it if it came to Switch.
That's a good
Nintendo's
point.
got the rights to Twin Snakes. Throw Twin Snakes on there. You can do Twin
That
Snakes
game should
2,
come
3, and then Peace Walker.
all right,
There
that
you
would
go.
be ridiculous. Konami would actually get some money from me.
I would also. I just have to throw out. I want a Silent Hill 1 through 4 HD. That's what I want. Bring on some Silent
Well,
Hill.
then we might as well have Konami bring Zone of the Enders 1 and 2 HD.
Oh my God!
let's
You
do it.
joke, but like legitimately, I want that.
No,
I
I
really
think Zone of the
genuinely
Enders
want
2
that.
is like one of the best mech games ever made.
Yeah, we're putting
man,
we're
look at
putting
this.
together the best direct ever right now.
Yes, this is the last
Yeah,
direct
like right now,
we've ever gonna
Konami's
have.
a leading publisher. for
Here's-
this direct.
here's
They're
a
just bringing everything they've ever made.
Here's a realistic third-party announcement,
Okay,
and I want
okay.
you guys to think about this. Here's a realistic one. I feel pretty strongly about this too. February is, I think, when most of us are assuming we're going to get this first direct of the year, the first normal direct of the year.
Yep.
And February is
Wait,
a
when,
big month.
when are we recording this? They just announced the direct, didn't they?
Yeah, we already know the date.
Oh,
Remember?
well, we know the date. Well, I'm assuming if it's in February, February's a big month for, a certain blue blur. And we got the Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming out, and no, I don't think they're going to do Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the game, Shadow Drop, but I do think it's about time for the announcement of the next mainline Sonic game. It's been a long time since Forces, and potentially maybe even Sonic Mania 2. And I think that whatever the next mainline Sonic game is, albeit either a sequel to Mania or, a 3D game in line with something like Forces, I think it will be announced, shown off, and dated all in this very first direct of the year.
All right, that'd be cool.
Well,
I'd be all right with
Sega
that.
just announced like every single month this year they're gonna have like Sonic related news
I
on like
saw
the 20th
that.
of every month.
20th of every
Nice.
month. Yep,
So February 20th is clearly the date of this Nintendo Direct. Right?
there it is. There it is.
So there we go.
I'm
We
gonna say
cracked
April
the code.
20th.
Here we are recording this on February 19th.
Yeah, we're on the ball.
Oh man.
I
Well,
did want to
actually,
bring up.
Ironically enough, I want to say the date that we are recording this is January 20th,
There you go.
2020. There you go.
That's amazing. Well, so I did want to bring up a game that I think we've probably accidentally skipped over. It's my personal most excited game in 2020. That is not The Last of Us Part 2, which is No More Heroes 3.
Okay.
And I really, I mean, there's a couple things going on with No More Heroes. Obviously, if No More Heroes 3 was even going to show up in some fashion in this first direct on February 20th, 2020, we could also see a Travis Touchdown Smash reveal, right? So I've been waiting for that. I've been wanting it since Smash 4 on the Wii U. I've been wanting Travis Touchdown, and I think it will happen. But beyond that, I'm curious if anyone thinks that we might actually see gameplay or a date for No More Heroes 3 at this direct, because I think there's a good chance, and I am dying for that.
I think it depends if it's coming out in the first half or I feel like that's second half.
I do too. I
2020.
think August to me
August
feels like a
actually
good
makes
date for
sense.
that game.
Yeah.
So it might be too early for it, but it's also not impossible that they give that 7-month kind of lead in.
Okay.
I'm gonna say one thing though about No More Heroes 3, which maybe some people might get upset at me about, and please don't take this the wrong way because I love the No More Heroes franchise. Is it feels like they're almost Daemon X Machina-ing No More Heroes, and what I mean by that is that
Same company.
this
too.
game has been announced I think really like 3-4 years ago was the first teaser of No More Heroes 3, right? I mean, it was a long time ago. We first got that little hidden teaser, and then we got Travis Strikes Again, and then we got another teaser for this game, and then it was shown at last E3, and then now, like you said, we're probably going to get a trailer or a teaser for the game at the beginning of this. I feel like if they wait until the end of the year for that game, it is going to get slaughtered by the release of the new consoles and whatever the holiday Nintendo game is. And so I feel like it'd be in their best interest to release it earlier.
Well, the thing is, I feel like with No More Heroes, I feel like that's just going to appeal to basically No More Heroes fans, unless they put out like a No More Heroes collection on Switch. I feel like either way, the game is gonna do okay at best. Like it's not gonna blow up the sales charts.
Sure,
so it doesn't really matter. Like when it releases,
that could happen. They've expressed interest in HDing No More Heroes 1 and 2, so I could see that almost be announced as a shadow drop with a release window for No More Heroes 3.
I like that a lot.
You know what's a shame is I'm looking at this and like I feel like No More Heroes 3 missed out on February this year because I am shocked at how many games have been delayed out of this first half of the year so far, and like I'm looking at February and unless I'm missing some big game in general, there's really not like a lot of stuff in February.
That's how it's been for a while with the Nintendo Switch.
No, I mean just like in general, like but usually... I mean like all like.
Well, we have Jim Henson's Dark Crystal coming out in February.
Yeah,
I was just rewatching the E3 Direct from last year and was wondering if that game was released or not yet. So I'm glad you brought that up.
That was a weird one of the first things they announced. They were just like, "All right, get ready, guys."
But like, what's out
that.
like in February in general? Like for the Xbox or the PlayStation, am I not?
Last year,
the Switch generally doesn't have anything going on in February. That's what
last year.
at.
Devil May Cry 5 and Metro Exodus were last year, and I think there was another big game. So last year had a couple.
But I mean, like
in general, yes.
This year,
they have
it's
DMC 3 coming out this
year.
Dude, when the fact that they put DMC 3 on their like roadmap, I was like, wow, there's really not a lot in February.
Hey, no, this is a pretty big release. We have to give Capcom credit where credit is due. And they're doing right by the Devil May Cry 3 release on the Switch.
I agree with that.
They're putting in the new style. They're actually making it the definitive edition of Devil May Cry 3.
It just took them 2 games to get there.
At least Capcom is trying now. They're justifying that $20 price tag.
Is it
While we're on the topic of Capcom,
let me ask you this,
we're
Nate.
Gonna see the next Ace Attorney?
They gonna if they're really gonna go all the way with DMC3, they putting it on a cartridge?
No.
All right, moving on.
No, but I don't think I mean maybe I feel like Capcom might announce that on their own for Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That might I totally see like that just happening out of like Capcom Japan or something. I can totally envision just going on YouTube one day and just seeing like a Japanese only trailer for the next Ace Attorney, and then like a month later it gets announced here. So I don't know. I think Capcom, the only thing they really show off is maybe DMC3, and they like have a little blurb about the Mega Man ZX and Zero collection.
Some more Mega Man stuff.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see. I mean, I don't even know what's left. Something from Resident Evil, maybe like a physical Resident Evil 7 would be really exciting. They've given 0 through 6 at this point, and we doubt we're going to see Resident Evil 2 remake. So what about Resident Evil?
Well, they could just port the original 2 and 3. Over.
No, you're right. You're right. We actually don't have those, so that's a good point. It could be any of those or Resident.
I can see that. I mean, like I didn't realize like for some reason it never occurred to me. Like I always knew Resident Evil 2 and 3 came out on GameCube, but it never occurred to me that it was literally just the PlayStation versions running on a GameCube disc.
Yeah, there was a lot of
never occurred to me. For some reason, I always just thought like they were in line with like the remake. On GameCube. I don't know why, but like,
I worked for I was working at GameStop at the time when all of those came out on the GameCube, and there was so much hype for the Resident Evil remake, which in my opinion is still the second best Resident Evil game ever made. And when Resident Evil 2 and 3 were coming, you know, in the days before the internet told everyone everything, people were coming into the store and were really excited. When are these games coming out? And then they came out and they're like, I want to pick up that game. And we had to make it a mission to inform people that those games were not remade the way the first one was because people didn't understand it. And a lot of people were disappointed because they were just PS1 old school games on a GameCube disc, like you said. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's weird because like that was like one of the first instances of that really happening where it was just like a straight up port of a last generation game with very little done to it, and now it's done all the time. But which is why I could see them doing RE2 and RE3, maybe even Code Veronica. Ported
that
over.
Would be actually Code Veronica would, because I think that would translate better. It's just that much more modern, I think, than 2 and 3. So I think that would be even if they didn't touch it up, you know, for the whatever $90 that Capcom would sell it for on the Switch, I think that would be a really good game for them to put on the Switch. So.
Okay.
Well, let me see. I have a few random little things here. We have the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection. I know that came out for like PS4. That means that it's coming. Okay. So, I don't know. I feel like after they did 3 and 4, I thought that would probably be one that could work. I feel like Dragon Quest. There's gonna be more Dragon Quest stuff. I feel like they might do more past 3, and they might also bring over Heroes 1 and 2 again. I mean, they might bring over Heroes 1 and 2 because those have only been in Japan since like the launch of the Switch. Let's see, there's going to be at least 25 minutes of JRPGs. There's going to be Shenmue 1 and 2 HD is going to come over to Switch.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
And I know nothing about Danganronpa, but for some reason I'm just like, I feel like that's going to come to Switch.
Okay. So
I'd like that.
We have said an obscene amount of games so far in this video. Let's to finish up here. Let's go back. And let's just all say what our big game is. So every direct, there's always a game that people come out the other side talking about, right?
Sure.
Breath of the Wild 2, for example, now in development, something like that, right? All right. So what, I guess, as we finish up here, is the big game that you think would be at this direct?
I'll say Paper Mario.
Okay.
I have to. I'm gonna cheat and I have to do a tie because I can't pick between my children. I think it's either going to be Pikmin 4 or a new Metroid game, or maybe both. So those are my
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they're gonna open with Odyssey 2 and end with Metroid 2D Metroid. I think it's gonna be 2 of them. I don't think it's gonna be just one.
Yeah, same.
Well, 2020 is the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, so I feel like they're going to do a port of Mario All-Stars from the Wii on the Switch. And it's also Kirby's 28th anniversary. I just wrote about a bunch of anniversaries, so might be a Kirby game. But I also I feel like it's going to be the big stinger is going to be 2D Metroid. I feel like that's going to be the big boy of the direct.
I think it's also going to be Paper Mario. I'm gonna go with Nate here, just because I know that fan base has been waiting for a return to form for Paper Mario. So if it's correct and it holds up,
it's a good guess.
I think that's something that would immediately trend on Twitter and people would freak out.
Like I said earlier, man, I can't do it to myself. I really can't. I'm a massive RPG fan, and the idea of a real like Paper Mario game with partners and story and stuff is just something I've wanted for so long. And I've been so consistently disappointed by Nintendo in that regard that I can't hype myself up for it. That really almost feels like more of a dream game to me than like a new 2D Metroid or something, which almost seems insane. But I really want that to be true, which is why I'm not saying it. Like I would be thrilled and would probably cry during my live reaction stream if it was truly a new partner Paper Mario, because even, you know, while we're on the topic of it, like the new Mario characters and enemies and things that have been introduced since then and that have been popularized since then, like getting some type of spooky area with a 2D EGAD and like the Polterpup, or getting some like city area where you get like a 2D Pauline and a Donkey Kong area. I mean, like the possibilities are truly endless for partner characters, the cool little sombrero skeletons from Mario Odyssey or something. I mean, they could do so much. And I don't trust that team enough now. I've been burned one too many times, and I want it to be true so bad, but I can't in my right mind say it.
Have we ever considered if Nintendo would make a different franchise in the paper style? Like, what if they did a paper Metroid or a paper Zelda?
Oh gosh!
They
Don't
never do that.
bring those. Don't will those things into existence.
Could you just imagine
Could
like
happen,
an adorable
man.
little paper Ridley, like an origami paper Ridley eating Samus's parents? How
I mean,
beautiful that would be.
we've got 2D Metroid rumors in the news. What if that's what it is?
Oh my god!
Oh,
Samus's crafty world.
Oh,
Oh my god!
Oh,
Obviously,
no.
as a Metroid super
That
fan,
would-
it's the last thing I want.
That
but
would
I
be the
just
wrong
have to
kind
do
of
that.
stinger that Scott was predicting.
Or make Federation
Metroid.
Force be like game of the year.
Oh man.
We're gonna get a
Jeez.
sequel to Federation Force.
Well, those are our predictions. I think we listed about 80 games, so we have to at least
Every
get.
game ever made.
We at least have to get
Whoa,
one.
whoa,
we
whoa,
have-
whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
This
okay.
can't be the end. There is
Okay.
one more massive thing.
Actually, there is
We've
one
been
more thing
talking
I
for
want.
a long
Oh,
time.
hold
Animal
on.
Crossing.
Air
How have we not
quotes
brought up Animal
predict for
Crossing?
Nate. Oh, okay, because I think Animal
I guess that was
Crossing
just a given.
Correct.
because I think Animal Crossing is going to get its own direct or its own little direct.
But you don't think, I mean, even if we get a full direct, you don't think they're even going to hint it in like February or announce that direct is happening? I mean, I feel like there's got to be something Animal Crossing in this mainline direct. There has
I
to
can
be.
see a trailer of them say, tune in next week for an Animal Crossing Direct where we'll talk about your village.
Yeah, maybe like Amiibo or something. You know, they announced. Like Animal
Yeah,
Crossing.
maybe they can announce that Amiibo will no
Oh,
longer be
more
released.
Animal Crossing amiibo.
I think Animal Crossing will get its own direct ahead of time.
Fair
we'll
enough.
get- I think we'll get some.
Fair
I think we'll
enough.
get some good information out of it.
I will make a prediction that Animal Crossing New Horizons will not support amiibo.
Well, no. I'm gonna counter your prediction. I think it will support Amiibo.
boy.
I think it's going to support
I
the
do too.
Amiibo cards.
Oh,
I don't
we did.
necessarily know that they'll do like the what was that game again? I forgot. The Amiibo Festival. I don't know if they're
Hell
going to
yeah.
do something in that sense. But I mean, they sold all those villager cards where you could scan your favorite villager into your town. I could see something where like you scan the Amiibo card and then your favorite character like flies into your island.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's gonna support amiibo just because, like, I went to Five Below, as I usually do, and I picked up a lot of the Animal Crossing amiibo just in case I ever wanted to play Amiibo Festival with the bros. So
As you do.
I feel like that amiibo line is tainted. I feel like Nintendo's just like we're done.
We did. By the way,
Little Lottie.
we did mention Animal Crossing at the beginning when Scott predicted that there would be some sort of Switch Lite version of like for the
Oh, I
Animal
guess that's
Crossing.
true. We
Good
did.
point.
We did bring that up.
Very
That's
good.
right.
So just a little bit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I could imagine just a regular Switch like that, and it would be a dock that's fully white, and it looks like it has a little Animal
Ah.
Crossing pattern on it.
Cute.
But I don't know. I feel like a Switch Lite is too in line with what Nintendo sees like the main audience of Animal Crossing, like what they would want, which would potentially be just a Switch Lite. So I'm thinking Switch Lite, like a collectible Switch Lite.
I like that.
I agree.
Oh, Nate, you said you had one thing to you wanted to predict as well, and it's
Square Enix.
Go ahead.
We'll finally announce Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 for the Switch.
Hold on.
Nice.
I'm trying to figure.
good one.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure out if Nate's messing with us or not right now.
The world may never know. You'll know when the direct airs.
That's actually a pretty big deal.
On February
Yeah.
20th, 2020.
Yeah.
That's
I can
actually a
combat that with some BS predictions I have down here. if you want.
okay. All right, let's hear them.
Yeah.
Let's hear them.
Okay, Nintendo will remind us that a Yoshi's Crafted World demo is available.
Okay.
Let's see. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U Edition.
Oh no!
Or
That's
specifically the
called
Wii
that.
U edition.
Yeah, and it'll be called that.
I love
It'll
it.
just
I
be
love
called
it.
that.
I mean, they left
Madden
the U in
12.
New Super Mario Bros.
Madden 12.
God.
Yeah. There would be a new Nintendo Switch Online offer for members for a free lunch with the Daemon X Machina director. The next Smash Brothers character is Yoshi's Crafted World, just the full game, and there's gonna be new DLC for Mario Kart 8 on Wii U.
On Wii U.
Here's one more real prediction.
Oh boy. Okay.
Maybe not for the first direct. You know what the hell? We'll throw it in the first direct.
Yeah, throw it in there. Come on.
Nintendo will announce the return of the voucher system for North America.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
I think they
I was
want to
worried-
get
I was
that
worried
in
that was
right
gone
before
forever.
Animal Crossing
Yeah.
comes out to get
Yeah.
people buying those
Okay.
things.
Okay.
You mean like a new wave of the vouchers, right? Because they already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they discontinued them here. Last summer after like 3 months for some.
How much
Yeah,
does
that
that
would-
save you again?
wouldn't have been very long.
I never, you know,
Like
It's like
$10
$10
a
or
game.
something, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Actually, you saved $20, but you also spent that $20 on
But-
the online service for the year, so you weren't really saving
But-
money.
It's
But-
all smoke and mirrors.
but Walmart sells the games for $50 now anyway.
yeah, well, that doesn't give me the
I am
convenience of
so-
downloading Animal Crossing to my Lite and not having to go to Walmart.
I'm so pissed off. You guys remember the My Best Buy like Gamers Club Unlocked membership?
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I
Good
forgot when mine ran out. I remembered like the day after it ran out. It was this last December, so I don't know where I'm buying my games anymore.
Dude, go to Walmart. There's $10 cheaper.
I
There you
hate
go.
Walmart for buying games, man. They're all behind the glass, and I have to
They
ask
are.
somebody to. I have to
You do.
ask somebody. I hate that.
I just thought of one other potential. I guess it's not necessarily first party, but something we could see. Just because the developers talked about this a long time ago, and we never really heard anything else about it. You know, we have Hyrule Warriors, we have Fire Emblem Warriors. There was talk a long time ago of them putting together some other type of Warriors game using other Nintendo franchises. I don't know if that would be Mushroom Kingdom Warriors or
Mario
Dreamland Warriors or something.
I was about to ask if it was specifically Nintendo because like that I thought like well they could have been alluding to Persona.
Well, no,
Five
I mean, well, they've got
Scramble,
they've got Scramble, they've got One Piece. I mean, there's a lot of Warriors games that are coming out this year, but I do wonder if maybe they would want to get them to do like or even a Fire Emblem Warriors 2, but like with the Three Houses characters or something.
Huh.
Mhm.
What's
yeah, I could
be bad.
imagine. I'm trying to think of other like I mean like I think it would be really cool to have like Kirby or Mario or something like that.
Yeah.
But
what's
I'm trying to think of any other humanoid Nintendo.
what's Star
franchises like
Fox
that.
up to?
That's the new Star Fox game. It's not Star
That's
Fox
what
Grand Prix,
Retro's
it's
been
Star
making,
Fox
man.
Oh
Warriors.
wait, yo, we
man,
found
that's
That's the new Paper Mario game.
we found
Oh
something
my!
for
I swear to God, don't even say that, Scott. If Paper Mario Warriors is the game, I swear to God, I will delete my YouTube channel. I will delete.
It's going to be.
Please,
It's going to be
no.
It's going to be a movie tie-in, and it's going to be Warriors.
You know what? Let's get
Oh,
let's
God.
get creative. Let's have it be a game for Captain Falcon.
Okay,
you know
F-Zero
what?
Warriors would be
We
kind
need
of clean
that.
though. If they're running out of their carts and you've got like Dr. Wright and Captain Falcon and Pico and all the other characters,
yeah.
Joey Summer, that'd be clean. I would totally play that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've the last couple days I've been talking about like Samurai Goro showing up in Smash Brothers. Like we need some kind of other
you
F-Zero
go.
representation out there, so I think that'd be cool. I actually wanted to bring up a Nintendo franchise I've been thinking about for this year as well that we've all forgotten, which is Punch-Out. And I think Punch-Out might be coming back on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I think it could happen, man. This is the year.
I love Punch Out. That's like top 5 Nintendo franchises for me.
It's just, and it makes sense. I think on the Switch, it's one of those like in the Switch era of Nintendo. I think this is a good time to revive that franchise, right? So
I
put it past
thought
Nintendo.
Punch Out would have made the most sense on the 3DS because like with the 3D screen, then you could kind of judge the depth of like the punches and like they could make it so then it would kind of be like 3D land where like putting like you could play it in 2D but putting up the 3D slider would like actually give you an advantage to like knowing when to dodge and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love Punch Out Wii was so good. It was just
it's
way
awesome.
too derivative. It was just way too derivative of like previous Punch Out games. Like if they actually gave like the developers like a bunch of like creative control as to like new fighters and maybe new areas to fight in and stuff like that, it would be so good.
Controls too. I mean, they could have really tested their metal with with ARMS, and maybe they can take some of those concepts and refine them and make a better Punch Out game.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
Punch
the
Out
main
Wii
character.
supported the balance board.
Yeah. Well, Punch
Did it
Out
really?
Wii wasn't the hidden final fighter of Punch Out Wii Donkey Kong? So there you go. The hidden final fighter of the Switch one would be Springman. There you go.
Yeah, make it happen. I mean, I just
Be Paper
makes
Mario. That's the Paper Mario game they're talking about.
God,
Paper
come
Mario
on.
Punch Out Warriors.
I thought of WarioWare Warriors. I just like
Wario
how that
Warriors?
rolls off the
Wario
tongue.
Warriors.
WarioWare Warriors. I like how that rolls off the tongue, so I'll predict
That would actually be funny considering, you know, like the LOL, if you go to Nico Nico or like any of the Japanese websites, instead of LOL, it's W's. If it was just www, it's the game.
Oh,
and it's WarioWare Warriors.
www.www. The game's website.
We have really
I also wrote
gone
down
into
Yokai
some
Watch
madness.
4.
We've
Yokai
gone
Watch
off.
4. I wrote that down. I'll throw that out there.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
What?
Fantasy Life 2, Ever Oasis 2, And Rune Factory 5. There you go.
Nice.
Those are the
Where do you
last.
come up with these random collections of such obscure games?
I should.
Oh yeah, what like Fantasy Life 2 and Ever Oasis 2 are a double pack?
Yes.
I love it.
They're a collection.
I
It's a
really should have
compilation.
someone, whoever in the comments made it this far of the video has to tell us how many games we named in this video.
You should tell them at the beginning to chronicle some of these games. Anyone listening at this point ain't gonna go back.
No.
They deserve like $100 for making it this far.
We started with
wasn't Red Dead
predictions,
2?
and we just started.
Red Dead 2 coming to Switch.
Oh, God.
We started with predictions, and we somehow ended up in a 2D WarioWare Warriors Paper Mario Punch-Out game.
Oh man.
I think John. I think you have to may put a disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Honestly, you should probably build something in there about how crazy.
We started doing predictions, and I don't even know where we ended up. But
here's the
You're
good.
just gonna edit this section to just be like technical difficulties.
hopefully it's just hopefully
it's
just entertaining, for the listeners.
I think it is. And to be fair, at this point, because we've named so many games, we got some stuff right.
Hey.
I mean,
Absolutely. We're going to
we
come back
got
to
a
this
lot
and they're
of-
going to say, I can't believe they predicted Wave Race Dating Sim. That's amazing.
Hey,
I can't
and only-
believe it.
and only the day before the direct aired. I mean, who would have
Right?
thought?
Unbelievable.
To be fair, the people who are really listening right now are either waiting for the direct to happen, so they're looking to kill time, or they're coming back to see if we got anything at all right with our massive scattershot of games.
Well, to be fair, I think we did clarify
That'd be a
pretty
record.
multiple times that most of us believe there's a Mario game, either Odyssey 2 or Paper Mario at the beginning,
Yeah.
a 2D Mario at the ending, and then the obvious things like Bayonetta 3, maybe like a Switch Lite for Animal Crossing, and some Wii U ports in the middle with Bioshock and a couple other third-party announcements. That seems
here's
like that's the general,
Basically,
cliff
all the
note of this.
non-rumor stuff we have a
Right,
general
right.
consensus on.
Yeah.
Next
All
time,
the
I feel like
filler material
to
we
end
just
this off.
everywhere.
I feel like to end this off, we all just have to with no interruptions, just each of us just go through like the main things we think this direct is gonna have. No
Sure.
explanations, just like which games are gonna open up, which games are gonna close, what's in the middle.
okay.
Perfect.
So I think
I like it.
I think a new Paper Mario is opening it up. We'll go into stuff like they're gonna talk about. Let me see. They're probably gonna be like some Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest ports. Capcom's going to show off like Mega Man ZX0 collection. There might be the Castlevania Anniversary Collection 2. I feel like there's going to be the Mario 3D World Deluxe port and Pikmin 3. Bioshock. Doom Eternal might have a little spot. Bravely Default 2. There might be Bayonetta 3, and it'll end off on 2D Metroid.
Nice. And my list is almost exactly the same, only instead of Paper Mario, I would say we're doing Mario Odyssey 2. I think we're then going into a couple third-party announcements, things like Bioshock. Like I said earlier, I think this is going to be time for Persona. So Persona 5 Scramble and also Royal, both getting North American announcements coming to the Switch. I think we'll get a trailer for Bayonetta 3. I think we're going to get a April or May release date for Xenoblade. I also completely agree. The Wii U ports are going to be Pikmin 3 and Mario 3D World. And I think the big closer is they're saying it's not quite time for Metroid Prime 4 yet, but here is the new 2D Metroid game.
Okay, good stuff. I'm not going to try to predict the order at all. I'm just going to go through the list of games that I think could actually be shown. I'll state again. I think Pikmin 4 is probably going to show up. I think some kind of Metroid game, 2D Metroid game, Metroid Prime trilogy, whatever they want to do. Not Metroid Prime 4, but something else that is Metroid will probably be there. I think we will get one or two new third-party ports announced, like a Grand Theft Auto or a Nier. I think we will see Bayonetta in some form. I think No More Heroes 3 will also be there in some form. And I think Mario 3D World will be the Wii U port shown. And one Smash character.
Okay. I think they're actually going to open with Metroid. I think that'll be their opener. Just get everyone going. Everyone will be excited. We'll get some third-party stuff thrown in there. I think like 13, for example, will get dated. I think we might see something with Oddworld thrown in there. There's like kind of their sizzle reel that happens at some point. Outer Worlds getting dated. Panzer Dragoon getting dated. Maybe Doom Eternal as well. I do think Mario Golf will be shown there as an announcement for, I'm going to say summer, similar to when Mario Tennis kind of came out, to throw that in there. And I think they will close out with Paper Mario. And then, of course, you guys kind of named some stuff already in there that I agree with, like the Wii U ports with Pikmin 3 and 3D World. And then I do think Jedi Academy Rob is a shadow drop.
Bring it on.
Boom.
Yeah.
What about Nate?
So yeah, for my general predictions, would be Paper Mario shows up. We see the Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World ports. Probably get some DLC of already released titles. Either it's a Ring Fit Adventure type of thing. Probably see a Mario sports game, a Mario Golf, or maybe another Mario Tennis, something along those lines. Or Strikers, if Nintendo really wants to give us something awesome.
No interrupting.
Yes. I know. I just had to say Strikers. Sorry.
Damn you. Where the hell was I? Something with sports.
Yeah.
General updates from third parties, something like title probably from Square Enix, the game from Capcom, maybe something from Namco, what the hell is the name? Bandai Namco. I don't think we see a 2D Metroid. I don't think we see a Metroid presence at all at this particular direct. I don't think we have any Smash presence at this particular direct. I think we get a Animal Crossing trailer with a direct for Animal Crossing announced at the end of the trailer. And I think the direct will close with a some sort of it's gonna be a first party game. What could Nintendo close on? They will close on
Wave Race Dating Sim. It's sitting right there.
Wave Race Dating Sim.
He's trying to. You almost said something you weren't supposed to. Probably you were like rolling along, and you're about to be like.
No, I couldn't think of anything where they could close with them. Like, well, I already said a bunch of stuff. I can't say they're gonna close on a Metroid when I said there's not gonna be a Metroid. So I kind of cornered myself there. Where like, oh shit, I don't have a closing.
It just means Metroid's gonna be there.
You should have said
Odyssey.
The direct is going to end like the Pokemon direct mid-sentence.
What a twist.
They showed
they
that.
would need to repeat a trailer at some point. We'd have to see 2 trailers of D2D Metroid game.
The best part
you can stay tuned for the trailer of.
The best part about that Pokemon DLC direct is the way it ended for me because it cut off mid-sentence. They showed the pricing and then it cut. And I was like, man, they're out of there.
I like how it took us 2 hours of absolute pandemonium to get to a couple of really solid direct predictions.
I think we nailed down some good ones there. I do.
I think that's the fun of it, though.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Especially when it's the very beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think we got some good ones thrown in there, though.
Yeah.
We nailed it. I bet we predicted 90% of what will be in the direct.
I agree.
At some point, I'm sure we did.
We predicted like 100-something games. There's probably going to be like 20 of them shown. Like in general. Okay. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to all the guests here. We got Rob, Ruleof2 Review. We got Roger from Rogersbase. Scott the Waz. And then we have Nate from DirectFeedGames. And Nate the Hate, right? Nate the Hate. I'm sure after the direct you'll have a video for that channel. And we'll have links down to all their channels down in the description. Thanks everyone for joining. And hey, we'll see you guys. I'm sure there'll be a lot of reactions after the direct. So tune in for that.
Oh yeah.